Okay there, hi there, good morning. It's Tuesday, 3rd of July, the day before the American holiday, 4th of July. I take off my special hat. Those who know what it is. Okay. Just thought I'd do a sort of a little video, really, a bit about my trading experience. Everyone has different experiences. Thought I'd just tell you what my trading experience is, what my background is. Haven't been a successful trader, so you probably don't want to follow what I'm doing, but I'll just tell you the journey which I had. And the journey was some time back, actually. Cut a long story short, I discovered quite late in life, just after my 40th birthday, that I come from a royal family in Nigeria on my father's side. So sometimes my number diploma, that's why I have Prince Peter, because that's what I used to be called on the trading floor. So when I discovered this, at the time I had my own business in outdoor advertising, but I was a bit bored by it. And I was trying to work out what it was that princes do. And Nigerian princes, they seem to have a massive bad reputation globally for, say, 419. I've tried to think of what to do honourable, which will sort of stimulate my mind for my career. And I set upon the idea of oil. I didn't know anything about oil, so I took a course at the IPE, that's the International Petroleum Exchange, and in those days it was open cry trading. So I just bought of my own back, because my billboard business was supporting me, a course with all the other large institutional members, Goldman Sachs, BP, Shell, etc. And I just bought a day, went on a day's course to learn about oil. What was interesting though was that the trading really got me in, really brought me in. Seeing people trading on the floor, wearing these type of jackets and making lots of money, and hearing some of the traders' stories. And we had a chance to go on the actual trading floor, have a look at things. After that course, I realised that I didn't really know anything about trading. So I figured the best thing I could do is to learn what a broker does about trading. So I then done a course in commodity and derivatives, financial derivatives. And there was a broker course with the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment. I was sort of, the idea was I was going to be a floor trader. As soon as I passed my final exam, they announced that they're going to close the IPE. It shortly got taken over by ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, but they closed the floor, the trading floor, and I was at a loss of what to do. So I opened up a retail account. I was just used to trade from home. Those days I didn't know anything about technical analysis, and I used to trade simply on price. I was just used to look at the ticker, what the price was saying, feel the rhythm of the price, and then just trade. And funny enough, that was actually doing quite well for me, quite well indeed. I was still trying to get used to the idea of orders and where you put the orders, limit orders, stop loss orders, one cancels out the other, iceberg orders, trading stops, etc. And all those sort of things which are very important to learn and know and how to use when you're trading. So the next stage for me really was the age of discovery. What I'd done was just like trying to find the holy grail of how to trade. My success was very moderate. I was only trading around sort of £1, £2 a point anyway. So I started attending different seminars, buying books. That's what got me into technical analysis, and also exhibitions. Technical analysis was a bit of a red herring, really, because I know a lot of people were really into technical analysis, and I have it myself, but it's not everything, and you can miss a lot. Price, to me, is the most important thing. It was at one of those exhibitions that someone was giving a talk, and I approached them. They were a managing director of a prop trading firm, and I asked them, have you got a job? Give us a job. And sure enough, he asked me to come into their offices the next day, and I landed myself, couldn't believe it, at the age of 40, a proprietary trading job. I mean, a proper proprietary trading job. The one what comes with a salary. yeah, and then get a profit share at the end of the year, yeah. So I got paid a salary, didn't have to pay any desk fees. The company themselves it's like a quite a small outfit. Headquarters were in Chicago. It was run by the managing director, who was an ex-Life Floor trader, and another chap who was also an ex-Floor Life trader. And not only myself, but 5 other guys, we were taught by these Life Floor traders for over a period of 6 months in all different areas, but predominantly on the scalping side. We also done some spread trades, talked to us about the language, terminology, just all sorts of trading discipline. It was over a 6-month period. I was very lucky and privileged, A, to be receiving a salary and to be learning about all of this. However, and unfortunately, after about 6 months, the Chicago headquarters, the company itself was mainly about options, really. We were doing futures, but they had a department with options, and they were, the big swinging dicks, if you like, and the focus was on them. So they decided to change the futures side, and they wanted more experienced people. So rather than just fire us straight away, what they said was, we're going to put £5,000 in an account. You're not going to be employed anymore. We're going to back you £5,000. If you blow it, you're out. Well, in all honesty, I took a dip of about £2,000, and we were all out. Yep, that's how it was. But in that interim between them changing, we had to experiment as to what products it was we were going to be trading when we were sort of trading our own book, if you like. I settled on the German Bund and Bobble, and also the DAX, but they didn't want to do the DAX because the margin rates were too high. So there followed a period of a break, and I was worked in private equity for about 2 years. But I always wanted to get back into the trading, and we're going back some now. So it's around 2008. I managed to get a job with another prop trading company. It was one of the biggest prop trading companies in the city. They mainly sort of back graduates. Graduates come in. I could put this one. I had to put money up myself, but I attended their course. I was taught by 2 really great guys, Matt Sylvester and Steve Ward. Matt, also an ex-Life Floor trader, because when they closed the floors, especially the Life Floor, was very big in London. There was a lot of floor traders getting used to the idea of trading electronically. And Steve Ward, he's a top trading psychology coach. He's got some videos and stuff like that out. Anyway, it was the month's course, and with this particular company, you could not do outrights. You had to do spread trades, which is buying one financial instrument and selling another. Normally something like the Bund, Bobble, Schatz, Fly, butterfly spreads, but in this particular instance, oil. It was trading oil, and we were doing butterfly spreads in futures. If you're not familiar with the term butterfly spreads or spreads, you're probably mainly used to trading retail, and therein lies some of the difficulties, if you like, about trying to learn trading and getting a broader knowledge of trading, because the prop firm really broadened my knowledge on trading, really, and what's going on. So having learned about how to trade oil, they finally let us loose. Oddly enough, during the training, I was doing sneaky trades at home on the DAX, and I was actually doing quite well, quite profitable with it. But we were told, no, it's oil we had to trade. Oil at that time was trading $145 a barrel. I went live around September, and within that month, oil crashed from 145 to 45. Fortunately, we were doing butterfly spreads, but nonetheless, it was catastrophic. At one time, the risk management team were running up and down the aisles, telling everybody that they had to get out at market, because the risk was too high. Not the way the prop floor was set up. You had various different desks trading various different products. So you'd have the sort of US 10 years or US Treasuries. You'd have people trading euro dollar. You have a lot of people trading some commodities, oil obviously, but the Bund, the mighty Bund, was the financial instrument of choice. And the reason was, I presume, is the liquidity. It's a very popular topic. Most traders don't really, or prop traders do not trade currencies. When I was with the first company I was with, they were trading currencies. All 6 of us, we practiced on the currencies, and funny enough, all 6 of us were not making money on it. So when I was in this other prop firm now, it was a very good experience, but it was an extremely tough time. 2008, very tough time. Okay, one of my friends who I was with persuaded me to get out of trading oil, because I was trading on NYMEX, and go into the Bund, because the commissions supposedly was less. It's only 30 cents a round trip. Okay, however, it seemed like a cost savings against the NYMEX butterfly spread, which cost me something like $6 a trade, even if I was flat. Okay, but the joke was, of course, that the Bund was jumping all over the place. It was so volatile and so choppy that my account blew up. That was the first account blow up. And I stayed with the prop firm over a period of about sort of 2 years. And I have to be honest with you, I blew quite a few accounts along the way. Okay, so the next thing I did was I worked with another company. That company said that they would back me, but before they backed me, they wanted to see how I traded. So I spent a good 4 months on a simulator in their offices, trading both the boom bobble shats, butterfly or the fly, and the DAX outright. Well, that DAX was like all over the place, but the fly, it was very consistent. I was told to get rid of the DAX, but I just loved the action surrounding the DAX. And oddly enough, the butterfly I just found a bit boring, even though I was consistently making money. Therein the situation, really. Do you want an exciting life, or do you want a boring life but make lots of money? You should always go for the latter. If it's boring and you're making money, then you're doing something right. Okay? Shouldn't really do it for the excitement. So, at the end of the 4-month period, I then asked, based on my trading results, to be backed, to which they turned around and said that they were not backing traders anymore. Well, I was gutted, devastated, and slightly pissed off, as you can imagine. I waited around a bit and managed to get a significant grub stake, and I went back to the previous prop company. But instead of doing butterfly spreads, I just done the 2/10s, i.e. the 2-year versus the 10-year on the Bund and the Shats. Unfortunately, a word came up all the time, and that word was Greece. 2010, Greece was having its financial meltdown, and unfortunately, I got caught up in that. My personal life had some personal tragedies, and we're having a lot of problems. My partner and I, my wife and I, with antisocial behaviour. It got to the stage where, when I was trading, these people were sort of being threatening and intimidating to my wife. I'm having to drop everything, rush home to see how things were going on at home. Wasn't conducive to trading, and 40 grand down after that period. I licked my wounds and sort of carried on doing other stuff. So near the end of the year, I had one last ditch, and we can talk about that another time. That last ditch saw me transform, and I call it more of a bit of a breakthrough, really. I transformed just £3,000 into £22,500 in a 6-week period. Okay, if that sounds okay, it wasn't too bad. However, when I tell you that my biggest loss over that period was £62,000, and the account high in those 6 weeks, from 3,000, I brought it up to, or flipped it up to £118,000, you'll see that somewhere along the line, I was almost getting it. I was sort of literally finding my edge. However, when it got to 22,000, what with the volatility of the account, this is when my children were born. I decided that I'll take a break. So I took a long break out of the trading. I only got back into it about a year and a half ago. Okay, so I'll talk about that period when I considered my breakthrough. But that's just a brief little synopsis about myself. In between times, also, I sort of upgraded on my course and got a diploma in derivatives. The diploma doesn't actually help you to trade the market on a daily basis. What it does do is give you an overview as to what are the issues out there, what to focus in, and just an awareness, being able to talk the talk, understanding the talk of what's going on, and some of the theories. Yep. So I hope that's helpful for you. I'm not a big swinging dick trader as such. I'm someone who's doing it. I do it out of an interest, out of a passion. I find it very interesting. So that's it for the time being. Thank you for listening.